All right, we're back with another pick'em video, and today we have 5 NBA Cup games, so that's good for betting because teams play a little bit longer, teams play a little bit harder during these games because there's a point differential factor in the tournament setup. If you don't know what the NBA Cup is, essentially there's divisions, there's like 6 divisions with 5 teams each. Each team plays each team in the division once, and then whoever has the best record, and then there's point differential tiebreaker scenarios. They move on to a tournament in Vegas to play for, I think the winning team, each player gets like $500,000. So these guys definitely want to win, especially the younger players. Maybe the older players want to win for the younger players that haven't had that huge payday just yet. But long story short, teams keep their guys in, even if they're up 20, there's a blowout, they might keep their guys in to try to get a bigger point differential in any sort of tiebreaker scenario. So yeah, really good matchups for today. Decent amount of spots for some overs, and we're going to go over our plays, matchups, hit rates, market value, all that different type of stuff like we do each and every video. Before we get into the picks for today, we're going to go over our video picks from yesterday. It was kind of a mediocre day. Some really good reads, some good reads that ended up coming up short because of blowout situations. That's a constant theme in the NBA. But yeah, good reads continue. I'm also going to show you my entire hit rate for the entire season. The past few weeks have been incredible in terms of individual hit rates. That just needs to translates to some wins. We've been over and over and over again getting one-legged, which is super frustrating because you're making the right reads. You'll have 4 guys correct, really crushing their overs or crushing their unders, and then one dude comes up just short. It's very frustrating. But our individual hit rate's been really good. There's math behind all this, and at the hit rate we have right now, we'll be very profitable in the long run here. So let's get into the video picks from yesterday, and then we'll hop into the picks for today. And if you're new around here, definitely go ahead and subscribe. Leave the video a like, comment something down below, and let's get into it. All right, so jumping into the desktop screen here, obviously these are some of the plays I gave out yesterday. We also had an underdog slip that looked a little bit better. But yeah, a whole lot of red here. I do want to break them down just a little bit because I don't think my reads were horrible, and maybe I'm making excuses up here. But we'll start off with Malik Beasley. He was one of the red plays from yesterday. We had his over 3.5 3-pointers made, and he had 3 threes in the first 4 minutes of this game. He started the game off 3 for 3, and again, there's about 7 minutes left in the first quarter, and he already had 3 of them. Looked very good. He then went on to miss his next 11 3-point attempts. He didn't stop shooting. He didn't stop putting them up. He didn't stop getting the good looks. He just literally missed 11 straight 3-pointers and ended the game 3 for 14. So that one sucked right off the bat. Next up, PJ Washington. Looking really good right off the bat. Again, I really liked his rebounding without Luka. Ended up getting 10, I think, rebounds in there, so that was a good read. Now his points. He comes up just short here in the points and the rebounds department. We had Najee Marshall end up shooting a whole bunch of shots. We had Jaden Hardy shoot 18 times, and PJ Washington only shot 11 times. Shot a good percentage, just didn't get the volume there. So maybe a good read, or a bad read in terms of the points, good read in terms of the rebounds. Maybe should have trusted my gut, just gone with the rebounds. Yeah, unfortunate one there. He comes up just short. Trey Lyles gets injured. The under looked good anyway, but that was an easy cash for us. And then Sabonis comes up just short. You can see the score down here. I guess you can't see the score, but they lost by 22 points or something like that, and he comes up just short there. So again, a couple plays just short. I don't think they were bad reads, especially that Malik Beasley one. That one's frustrating. But yeah, overall, probably a bad day in terms of hit rate. Our underdog looked a little bit better. Sabonis, we had the first quarter assists. That's an easy cash every single time I see that play. He had 3 assists. He ended up, I think, only having 3 assists in the game, but they all came in the first quarter. DeMar DeRozan played really well against OKC like he typically does. And then Ivica Zubac, 10 rebounds and a hook again. Remember, we talked about his last time he played Boston. He played only 26 minutes because they got destroyed. They got destroyed again. He ended up losing a few minutes. I think he played 28 minutes. He scored really well and just comes up on the hook for the rebounds. So again, really good reads overall. I think you can make your own decision there. Maybe I'm making excuses up. But yeah, just didn't have the luck go our way yesterday in terms of some blowouts, in terms of some guys just completely disappearing. Malik Beasley, that's absolutely incredible that he missed that line after starting 3 for 3. But yeah, we'll move along and try to find some winners for today. And then one more quick thing before we actually get into plays, feel free to skip ahead of this. I'm very transparent on this channel. You can see my voice, my demeanor here. I'm a little bit down. It's frustrating because you can see our hit rate. I do track all of my individual plays for the NBA to start this entire season. I did in October, I did in November. Obviously, November started off pretty sucky, but since November 14th, our reads have been really good. You can see the individual hit rate, 58.2%. That's also a weighted hit rate. I don't count a discounted line, a discounted play, as much as I do count a normal win. I also don't count a discounted loss as much as a normal win, just because they're discounts. You should be playing them, but I'm not going to weigh them the same as a normal play. So yeah, 58.2% hit rate, and that's mathematically much above the 54.6 or 54.7 that you need to be profitable mathematically in this. So we just haven't had the ball go our way, specifically me. A lot of one legs, we've talked about it a million times, but I do want to be transparent with you guys. I have all the stats here. I do post them in here as well, so you can go over all the plays that we give out and the hit rates there. Obviously some better days than others, and we've been cooking since November 14th or so, and I just can't wait for us to go in an absolute tear and start winning big units like we were so accustomed to last year and honestly in October. So hit rates there, we're doing the right thing, and we're going to keep doing that, and I can't wait for this hot streak to start. Maybe it starts today. All right, so jumping into the PrizePicks board, finally. We're starting with an under, and it's going to be Keontae George under 6.5 assists going up against the San Antonio Spurs. Now, these guys have played 3 times this year, I'm pretty sure, but Keontae stayed under this pretty, normally. Jordan Clarkson is kind of the big name that's going to be out here. Could give Keontae the ball a little bit more, a few more minutes here. But, Spurs a tough defensive team. They don't allow a whole bunch of assists. They're one of the best teams at not allowing assists, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at what Keontae's done so far this year. So 67% of games he has stayed under this. He is coming off a 9-assist game against the Knicks, where, again, that's kind of Sunday basketball. I think that was Sunday, maybe it was Saturday. Weekend basketball, let's say, just blowing out the Knicks kind of in a weird situation there. But, they are underdogs in this one, 2.5 points. They are home, so you could add that into it, but still doesn't seem to matter. He stays under more times than not, even at home. And then Jordan Clarkson's not in this one. But the main thing I'm going to attack here is the matchup. 4th ranked in terms of assists allowed per game. He's also played them, I think twice maybe he was active in these 2 games. Yeah, he had 5 in both those games. Also, Wembanyama, I don't think was active in at least one of those games. So that's, more of a turn at the rim, harder to get assists on a guy like Wembanyama. Their defense gets a whole lot better when Wemby is playing. So yeah, he stayed under in, 4 of the last 5 matchups. This one was last year in a game that they scored 111 points. And this is an in-season tournament game. The defense is going to be a little bit more involved, I would think. And, that's tough. You can see the in-season tournament games he's played so far this year. That was the 19th. He had 6 assists. And then in 12th or something. Yeah, 12th he had 4 assists. So he stayed under in both of the in-season tournament games he has played so far this year. Just making sure he hasn't played another one. Yeah, only played 2 so far, and he stayed under in both of those. The defense is going to be a little bit more involved in a game like this. So Jordan Clarkson, again, is going to be out today. I can show you games without Jordan Clarkson. It's not going to look amazing because he got 8 assists, 9 assists, and did have a 5-assist game. But that one 5-assist game was against the San Antonio team, which, again, didn't have Jordan Clarkson. So we're going to see that exact scenario going into today. So Keontae George under 6.5 assists. We're going to take a look at some market value here as well. The market loves it. -137 on the under for Pinnacle, -130, -140 on BetMGM. A lot of books that have this line up is heavily favoring the under here at 6.5. So getting really, really good market value for Keontae George. Anytime I see a hit rate, some matchups all kind of pointing in the right direction, and market value also saying, yeah, we're going to pay out less money if you take the under here because we think it's more likely to happen that way too. That seems, to be a good recipe for a good play. So Keontae George going to be the first play of the day, and it's going to be an under. And then sticking in that same game here, I'm going to the other point guard on the other team, the Spurs point guard, Chris Paul at 9 assists. This is definitely some push potential. That's where the books are kind of, favoring. It is a little bit more likely he goes over this than under this based on the numbers. But I'm liking his over 9 assists. Again, we talked about it in a negative way for Keontae George, but I'm going to try to spin it as a positive here for Chris Paul, because in the in-season tournament games or NBA Cup games that Chris Paul has played so far, he's had 11 assists in both those games. So you can see 47% of the time he's gone over this line. This doesn't include, the 3 games that pushed. There's definitely some push potential in this line, but I don't see him going under against Utah. You see 27th ranked in terms of assists allowed. He's also played these guys 3 times, so Keontae George must have missed one of these games so far this year. He had 10 assists, he had 9 assists, and he had 10 assists. And with Wemby in the lineup, that's just going to be an added boost for a guy like Chris Paul who can just throw it up to him, with pinpoint accuracy and have Wemby, jam that thing down pretty easily, but he doesn't even have to jump, just tap it in essentially. To point guards, you can see it's 27th as well. I don't know if I already pointed that out, but they give up a whole lot of assists, and it's to that point guard position that they get ripped on a whole bunch. They are away. I do want to point this out that he's not been as successful in away games, but you can see a couple of these games, they just got destroyed. 30-point loss to Houston here, the 20-point loss to Dallas. Didn't have the potential assists at all. Didn't get a bunch of minutes in those games either. This is an NBA Cup game. That's kind of the ones I want to be looking at because I think the Spurs are 1-1 and in a scenario that they could move on if they start winning by a decent amount of points. The 15th was one against the Lakers. They did lose that game, but he had 11 assists. You can see potential assists and minutes also up. 29 minutes. Potential assists he had 17, which is good to see. And then minutes for the 19th, which is the game they won against OKC. He also had 11 assists in 31 minutes. So, I assume he's going to get the minutes, especially if these guys are winning this game. I think they're going to, try to continue to get that point differential to, move on in this thing, potentially to Vegas. And Chris Paul, getting 30 minutes or so, almost a shoo-in to get, 9 or so assists, at least hopefully. In terms of market value, I told you it's kind of more of a 50-50 line in terms of they think he's probably going to land on 9 assists. Anyone that's got this at 8.5 is going to be heavily favoring. You can see minus 184 on Caesars, minus 175, minus 145, minus 146 to go over 8.5. And then anyone at 9.5 is like slightly favoring the under here. So 51.87% chance that he goes over this 8 assists. I like to see that as well. So market value is kind of leaning in the right direction here, but definitely more of a push potential line with potential to go over this. So same game here, same position, just different teams and also different outcomes. Taking the under on Keontae and the over on CP3. And then while we're talking about this game, I might as well throw in another one that you guys can decide on your own here. It's a first half play, and it's for Walker Kessler under 11.0 points, rebounds, and assists. Kind of goes hand in hand with Keontae George, maybe getting a few less assists, and some alley-oops to Walker Kessler. But he's gone under this pretty consistently so far this year, 7 of 10 games. He's also, again, played this team a few times. Twice looks like he was active. He had 7 PRA in the first matchup, 6 PRA in the second matchup, and also good to see that he hasn't really gone over this in the last 5 matchups against the Spurs, so maybe some trouble against Wemby. So he's been under very consistently. Sometimes he gets in there and he gets like 7 rebounds in like 3 minutes in that first quarter, so that could be a little bit scary, but hopefully, this defense by the Spurs, 5th ranked in points, 15th ranked in rebounds, so hopefully that's not where he kills us, and then 4th ranked in assists, which we don't have to worry too much about for a guy like Walker Kessler. Just kind of like looking at the hit rate here, not a whole lot of market value you can take into account for this one, just because not a whole lot of books have these first half plays, especially for a guy like Walker Kessler. But yeah, outliers cool that it can show us this. 7 to 10 games on the under. I do like to see that, one of these games. He's only gone over this, twice all season, and then the head-to-head also looking really good with the matchup. So if you want to throw that guy into a play as well, it's something that I threw a little bit down on as well, so I wanted to point it out for you guys. And then while we're talking about first half plays, I got a couple other ones that I'm liking. These are going to come in the next game that we're going to be talking about, Chicago and Washington, both teams that play at a really high pace and give up a whole bunch of stats for pretty much everything. That includes blocks and steals. So I'm going to be going to fantasy score first half for Josh Giddey at 14.5. Talk about consistency here. 83% of games he's gone over this. He sometimes randomly doesn't get a whole bunch of time. Usually comes at the end of the game. They'll be like, all right, this isn't working. We're going to sit Giddey. And the first half he's getting most of the time at least 14 minutes or so. And that seems to be always what he's needed. He's been able to crush this line sometimes, especially coming off the game against Memphis. He had, I don't even know how many this is, 26 fantasy points in the first half here. So really good hit rate. He's also played these guys not once this year, but both games last year he was able to crush this line easily. And then I'll go to a different thing just to kind of show you what they give up. 29th in points, 29th in rebounds, 23rd in assists allowed. To the point guard, shooting guard position, it's also very good here as well. So Washington, we all know they're kind of a poverty franchise. They're going to give up a whole bunch of stats in terms of blocks and steals as well, if you can chip in with one of those. Steals allowed 21st. Blocks allowed at 24th, and good to see that the 2 games against Washington last year, he had 2 steals and then 2 blocks and 1 steal. So yeah, really looking forward to Giddey in the first half for for today as well. I think that's something you guys could look at. And then one more first half play. I'm going to Bilal Coulibaly over his 14.5 first half fantasy score. So same game, same line actually. just different teams here. If, the Washington Wizards aren't the worst at giving up points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, all those different types of things, it's the Chicago Bulls. So he's also in a really, really good spot here. We're going to take a look at his outlier page, and also looking really, really good. Not maybe as good as Giddey's. You don't really see 83% all too often. But yeah, he's been right around this line a whole bunch. He gets a ton of minutes in the first half too, around 18 minutes per game in the first half. Also, Jordan Poole is a game time decision. If he sits, that's just more added bonus to, Coulibaly to have the ball in his hands a little bit more. But even if he doesn't sit, I don't think Poole's missed a game so far this year. No, it looks like he's missed one. But yeah, even if he doesn't sit, it doesn't really affect him all too much, I wouldn't think. Now, the thing to look at here is head-to-head. He went over. This was last year when the Washington Wizards got destroyed by the Bulls. He had 19.9 first-half fantasy score. And if you look at last year, Coulibaly, he's not the same type of player. He doesn't get the same type of minutes. And he went over in 9 games last year. One of those games was against Chicago. And then also, focusing on this year, because that's what we're really focused on, they're also home. So you look at home games, 83% of games he's gone over this at home. And first half is definitely better going to be here for the Washington Wizards because they're one of those teams that probably is out of the race in terms of the NBA Cup. If they are kind of losing this game by a lot, if the Bulls come in here and handle business, we might see the Washington Wizards start to sit their players because they're not really in the race here for the NBA Cup. So first half for a guy like Coulibaly, for a guy on the Wizards, is something that is more beneficial to us because there is kind of some blowout potential here if the Bulls play really, really hard and the Wizards are like, we don't really care. But hopefully Bilal has a good first half and go into 14.5 just like we are with Giddey. And then before we jump into the last play of the video, I do want to say if you are interested in getting access to all of my slips or just a cool community where we're always talking sports, talking props, talking plays, having fun, laughs, just like-minded people coming together and trying to beat the books together, definitely check out our Discord. There's plenty of different ways to get in for free. First off, today is going to be parlay play. You're going to get 2 free months if you sign up using my code RichPicks for parlay play. I gave you guys a free play here as well with a little bit of information on it as well. But yeah, really, really good lines here. They do boosted plays. They sometimes do deposit matches just randomly throughout, so you can load back up and get a little deposit match there. And it's one of the new sponsors of the channel. I wanted to show it some love. So 2 free months if you guys sign up. I want to give as many free months to you guys as possible. All you gotta do is use my codes to sign up. It's a win-win-win situation. It's a great way to support the channel and what I do. I get a little kickback when you guys use my code. So if I can get that to be an advantage to growing our community a little bit more, I think that's a great way to kind of give it back to you guys. But yeah, parlay play is definitely one of the fun ones for today. Again, 2 free months. I don't do that very often, so wanted to show parlay play some love, and you guys have a free play to start you off. Hopefully this is a winner 24-66 on a 2-man. This is a nice boosted play as well, which is what they do. And then last but not least, I want to point out Underdog. They have a 50% profit boost for NBA plays today. They're doing like picks giving, kind of like PrizePicks is doing. So in the season of giving and all that stuff, the holidays and things, they're going to be giving us profit boosts. They have NBA. They have a profit boost for college basketball. They also do 6x plays over on Underdogs for 3-mans. So if you know that PrizePicks does 5x plays for 3-mans, Underdog does 6x plays to 3-mans. You throw the 50% profit boost on that, it's going to be like an 8.5x or a 9x play on a 3-man play. That's absolutely ridiculous value. So they do this all the time. Underdog gives us discounts, tokens, all these different things all the time. So definitely check out Underdog as well. That's code RichPicks, and that's going to translate to a free month of our Discord community. So definitely check us out. Plenty of different ways to get in for free, like I mentioned. Obviously, parlay play, a really good opportunity for you guys today. But yeah, we have a whole bunch of fun in here. People are always sending plays, bouncing ideas off each other, having laughs, having fun. We're not toxic in here at all. We're all trying to win together, and we're laughing most of the time. A lot of these dudes are really, really funny. We also got some seasoned chefs in here that also post their plays. You can post any of your own plays. It's a really fun community, and I think you'll definitely want to check us out, especially if you made it this far into the video. And then moving into the last play of the video, I want to first mention some kind of honorable mentions here. I think Zach LaVine's in a really good spot to hit his overs for today against Washington. The Bulls are in a situation where they could potentially go to the NBA Cup in Vegas and compete for this tournament. For a team that's not doesn't have championship aspirations or anything like that, these little wins can be pretty good for a team like this. So I think they're going to go all out if they see that they're beating up in this Wizards team. I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas. And Zach LaVine's been pretty consistent here. Maybe a points and rebounds points line or something like that. I also like Kobe White. Vucevic's lines I think are a little bit too high, but Kobe White's points, he's been very consistent. So I do want to definitely look at Zach LaVine and Kobe White. Another guy, Jaden McDaniels, I think he's got some good values on his unders with his matchup for today. I also mentioned Anthony Davis. I think he has potential for going over against the Suns. And then the last play of the video that we're going to talk about here is Kevin Durant, who is returning from injury. The Suns are a different team with Kevin Durant on the floor, obviously. He's one of the best players ever. But we can see Durant's lines are coming out really, really low. And the really good thing I like to see here is they're starting to trickle up. So I got this at 30.5 over on Dabble. I think it's kind of bumping everywhere now. It's at 31.5 pretty much everywhere. I just checked odds jams. That's pretty much consensus. But FanDuel's already got this at 32.5. So I wouldn't be surprised if this continues to start trickling up because Durant has hit this in 89% of games, 80% of games last year. Yes, he's coming off injury, but we saw him come back from that Achilles injury. Didn't look like he missed a step. So I don't think, a random in-season injury that took him out for a few games here, a couple weeks is going to slow him down too much, unless there's some, minutes restriction that we're not understanding or not seeing coming that the books might know about. I think this is looking really, really good. He's crushed this line in 8 of 9 games. The one game he missed was against the Clippers. Probably just didn't have a good shooting game. I guess he did, just didn't really do anything that game. He's allowed to have a dud every once in a while. But then also the matchup here. You see the Lakers points allowed, points allowed, rebounds allowed, assists allowed, all really, really good matchups here for him. And we can see he loves playing the Lakers. He loves playing LeBron. Last 7 matchups he's played against these guys, he's over in 6 of those pretty handily. So not going to spend too much time on this one because it kind of, speaks for itself. You see the PRA, more a 50-50 line. We just checked. All the books are looking like they're at 31.5, but that's continued to trickle up throughout the day. And I wouldn't be surprised if this ends at 32.5, before the game starts, maybe even more. But they like the over here as well. So Kevin Durant going to be the last play of the video. Not going to, think too much about it. He's KD. Throw him into your parlays. A lot of people are on him. Again, maybe there's some minutes restriction that they're not going to give it to the public, and he's going to play 15 minutes or something today, weirdly. But I don't expect that to happen. So I'll roll the dice, and Kevin Durant's a good guy to roll the dice for. All right, so that is going to do it for this one. We talked about a whole bunch of different plays. I actually got a few other ones that I'm looking at their matchups. I think Bam Adebayo, his rebounds and assists line, I'm really, really liking at 13.5. I can't really find it anywhere on 13.5 other than Sportsbooks, but I think you could roll the dice there at 14.0. It's kind of like the Chris Paul line for today. Kind of more push potential, but he's really, really played well against the Bucks. And then on the Bucks side of things, I think Giannis in a really good situation here as well. We talked about the Bulls kind of getting these little wins. Well, the Bucks obviously started the year off horribly, and now they're starting to creep back up into the standings. Big in-season tournament win or NBA Cup win would be huge for a team morale-wise that has been struggling. And Giannis seems to care a whole lot about winning. That's his main IO here. And he's been able to put the team on his back a few times. And now he's got the in-season cup in a great situation to put his team in a spot to move on in this thing, go to Vegas, go to the tournament. And he's got a matchup that he's played pretty well against in the past. So 2 other guys, some honorable mentions here. So that will do it for me. We went over a ton of plays. Hopefully found you guys some winners for today. Again, if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave it a like, leave a comment as well. That tells YouTube to push this video out a little bit more. And definitely go ahead and subscribe if you are new. Check out the links in the description for any of the codes or anything. If you're interested in any of the tools I was using, I have promo codes for that as well, links for that as well. You usually get a discount or something on your first month, or a free trial in terms of Outlier, which is the data app I was using a whole bunch in this video. And then obviously if you want to join the community, the links in the description are going to tell you how to do that as well. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanksgiving coming up. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. And I'll probably be in a different situation because I'll probably be at my parents' house. So you might see a different little setup, but I'll get a video out for you guys tomorrow and attack more value. Thanks for watching. Peace out.